Alright, so this morning I'm going to be working on this radio. This radio's irritated me since I got this bus. I've even looked for a new dash, and I found one for a younger model, but I've never found one for this model. Which would still be a total pain to rewire anyway. But he cut this, which looked like a child, and of course it cracked down here because he got it so thin. So I want to pull this whole thing out. I don't even know why he put it in here. It's got like a little cubby. I mean, I got it if you put a double dent in there, but he didn't do that. He put a single dent in there with this, whatever. Anyway, I've got a new radio for this that's really thin. It's a double dent. It'll be a big screen. But I bought this plastic sheet. I just got to cut it, and basically I'll put it over that whole thing, and then kind of glue all this together. I'm going to try to go right below this line right here. So he screwed these two emblems up. So I'll try to cut right below there, and then or cover right below above there, and then come to here down. I'll pull that screw and this screw, and then I'll just come to this edge here with that plastic, and hopefully I can get that to fit correctly in there. Glue that all together, and then I'll cut the new radio into this this panel so that I can set it in there. And then again, it's really a thin radio. It's only about that thick. It goes back that far, so there won't be any clearance issues. I mean, he's really jerry-rigged this one. He's got it hanging here by a wire holding up from there just to hold the back side of that box up, but that's no go. That's no good at all. So the new way will be so much better. But yeah, anyway, that's what I'll be working on. If I get that done, then I'll be putting a CB in that I got. That'll go here. I'm probably gonna need to take this out of my way. People have asked me what this is for. It's just an old iPad that I have. The screen's actually cracked on it, but I use it for a map when I'm on the road. So that's what that's for. All right, well, enough talking about that stuff. Let me get this out, and then we'll figure out what we're gonna cut that with. I do have an old, like a scroll saw. I might try cutting it with the scroll saw. I just want the edges to be very straight, so I don't know. Maybe I'd like to use a table saw, but I think that might be a little rough on that plastic. I need to find out what works, so I'll probably do a little investigation before I do anything, and we'll get it cut. Because I can put the cut edge to the bottom and to this side, and then I don't think that you would notice, but I really would like to be able to have 3 good solid finished sides off, you know. But again, we'll figure it out like we always do. So in the meantime, let's work on getting this thing out of here. So I don't really know how to cut this, but I think I'm going to use my right angle and a razor blade and just see if I can cut it that way. It is plastic, right? But it is like a, I don't know, a lighter weight. It's hard, but it's a lighter weight. So anyway, we'll see if I can score it, maybe score it and break it, or I'm not sure what to do. But I'm going to try that razor blade first. I'm going to find a nice flat place where I don't scratch this up and see if I can't just trim on that line. And then that'll give us our height. This side I want to do a little fancy, so if that works out good, then I'll come down and I'll kind of bring it around this curve here and then down so I can get this screw hole that's in this corner. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a screw hole there that I'd like to catch. So if I come straight down, it's not going to be far enough over, but if I come down and kind of swoon it out and down, then that will help pull that in there and keep that pressed up against it. So that's what I'm going to try to do. We'll see how this all works, you know. This is all kind of creativity and play by ear. I mean, that's all you can do. So all right, well, let me try going out and cutting this, and we'll see what happens. All right, I'm gonna get a razor blade, a nice new one, and we'll just hold that there and we'll just score it and see what happens. And I can feel it. I can snap it, but I don't know what that would do to it, so I'm just going to keep cutting. So it's there. One more cut, I think. Oh, it just broke off. Okay, well, there you go. That's not a bad looking little ledge there, really, honestly. Wow. All right, so now we just got to figure out how to cut this down and then make our little angle. Hopefully we can get that to work right. But I'm digging that. So if I put that in down, which is pretty good, it's not perfect, but it's pretty daggone good. Yeah, I'll put this down and then I'll make our little design over here. And I think we're in business. All right, well, let me try that. I like this stuff. I may use this for the CB side too. We'll see. All right, well, let me go figure this out and we'll measure out and we'll make lines and we'll come out and cut it. I could run the heater. I just choose not to. I need to look at the weather to see if I should run the heater actually. But all right, so I'm thinking we should go right here with that, right? Look at that. So it covers up those old symbols so you don't know, because like when you half cover them, it looks like junk there. You see those symbols there at the very top, so you may not be able to see it very well. Let me go get some light. All right, so hey, I'm way past what I said I would do for these people. I reviewed that. I'd give an honest review, and I still love it. I mean, and I'll leave the link in the description below for Amazon. But this light is a lifesaver. I'm only using half of it there, and it just lights up really well. Anyway, I'm trying to cover these up. You got the little defroster fans. He clipped half of them off, and it looks like it's choppy, right? So what I wanted to do was get this in here and just cover that. But I don't want to cover the cool hot part of it, right? So that's what we're doing. We're getting it in there just enough to cover those things, but not cover anything else. That way it looks professional and not chopped in there, right? All right, so now we're going to try to figure out the measurements for this side over here. It is interesting. That's kind of at an angle there, isn't it? So that is interesting. So I'll have to make sure I hold the bottom tight when I do this so that it lines up all the way down with that. It's actually kind of sitting in there sideways too. Yeah, these motorhomes are just not perfect, but that's okay. We'll make ours look as best we can and go from there. All right, so we'll hold that end down there when we do this to that line right there, and then we'll figure it out from there. That's just the way it'll sit a little bit cocky doodle, because that's the way it's made. All right, but it does look straight on the line up here on the top, so that's important. All right, so I just need to figure this out over here where that measurement's going to be. We'll drop that down and then we'll make that little curve out here. We'll try to follow a curve here and then down, so we have enough room that we have plastic all the way around and we don't break that when we screw it back in to the frame right there, and that'll kind of suck that thing back in, you know. So, but we don't want to get too close on this, so it stays looking pro, right? So we got to get somewhere right in where my fingernail is, down, and then we'll cut over and then down. All right, well, let's figure that out and get it marked on our board and go outside and cut it, or out in the building and cut it. All right, my handy dandy tape. Let's do metric. Let's do millimeters. And I'm just going to go from the end. I know that's not. So 22 really. So we'll go 22 from the end. And then we'll curve in. Thank you for being here, Coffee Cup. Let me get the straight line made first. All right, and we'll use our little coffee cup, make us a little swervy swerve. It might be too much of a curve, I guess. And we need to find something smaller that's curvy. Look at this. That's what I'm talking about. So we'll just catch it here and follow it around. Get rid of this. We'll catch it there. Follow her around about halfway. And then we'll switch gears. And we'll catch it there. And we'll follow her on down. All right, so we got our little lines drawn there. I think it's going to work just fine if we set it there. It's going to come down and kind of go around so we can catch that screw. We can modify it if we don't like it from there, but I think that's going to be all right. It may be a little tall. It may be a little tall. We'll see. But I do want to give enough plastic that I can catch that screw and it doesn't just break it out, you know. All right. I think all these screws are important just because this thing moves, you know, the thing jogs around so much. So let's cut that, and then we'll kind of go from there and see where we're at. I'm cutting this like this, but I'm gonna have to go freehand down there when I get to there. And I'm going to kind of do that now because what I don't want to do is it to follow that line if it does crack. That was a little harsh. That was a little harsher than my line, but I've got it now, so now it's just a matter of taking my time, pressing down hard, following that same line every time. And I may have to trim this down here a little bit to make it nice and straight once I get done, because you're trying to get all this through there, and that's a tough corner to make, this big blade. All right, so that was a little rougher. We're gonna have to trim that a little bit back as we go, just to clean it up. All right, so I just ended up smoothing with sandpaper and it worked out pretty good. So that's what we're gonna do. Now we just need to find our holes so we can drill our holes. And I'm thinking about actually putting them in the top too, just to pull it in, suck it in better to the dashboard, but we'll see. We'll try to figure out what we can figure out. Boy, it's cold in here. Nose started running. May have turned the heat on in here. Woo! All right, so now I just need to figure out my holes for the two corners, and we'll get those set. And then I'll break the radio out, and we'll figure out how it fits in here, and we'll go from there. Because remember, we're going to cut most of this out, right? I gotta get that hole and that hole drawn. So that's basically what it's gonna look like. I think it's gonna look good. And then I'm thinking if there's nothing behind here and here, I'm gonna drill two more in those corners so that I have this mounted in all four corners. And then it'll be glued down and screwed down, and I think that'll be a good way to do it. And there's nothing behind that. And there's a clip behind this one up here real thick, but it's just a string, so I think it's okay to drill through there. And it's okay to drill through here. Alright, well, we'll just keep taking our time and step by step in it. I'll get these two drilled, we'll get these, maybe we'll get it bolted on there, we'll drill those two, and then we can start figuring everything out. That's great. I think that'll work out good. I need to erase the lines off that one. I made them a little big, but go see what we got. Man, my nose is just going to town. Woo. Now I'll put washers on the back side of this when I do it for reels. Oh, I need to get that so I can drill holes to the top. I forgot. This ought to do it. That one's gonna be loose for now. But that one kicks in where it needs to be. And allows me to drill that where it needs to be. So I'll kind of have to hold that up, I guess, when I do this, but I'll hold it up and drill, and then we'll be good to go. So then we'll just cut our box. So let me go get the drill. I forgot I had to drill through that. Man, my nose is just going to town. Woo. Now I'll put washers on the back side of this when I do it for reels. Oh, I need to get that so I can drill holes to the top. I forgot. That one's gonna be loose for now. But that one kicks in where it needs to be. Allows me to drill that where it needs to be, so I'll kind of have to hold that up, I guess, when I do this, but I'll hold it up and drill, and then we'll be good to go. Huh. Kind of work a little bit. Sideways, I don't want to ruin the do that one first and we'll try that one. You just got to work at it a little bit, but that's much cleaner than the junk that was there before, for sure. So now I think I need to break the radio out and see if there's a template so that I can cut the hole for the radio in this plastic, and then we can glue this and bolt it in, and then let it dry before we come back and try to put that together. All right, so the radio is a little bit deeper than I thought it was, so hopefully it clears that spider box up there. Otherwise I'm in trouble. So pull this panel out. This one actually kind of screws in. The rest of them just slide in. Oh yeah, we got plenty of room in there. Okay, I got scared because I was like, oh man, I need to make sure I can clear. But it's got plenty of room to clear, so I'll just take this cover off. I think they have this in there backwards so that you don't get stuck. Basically, this lip needs to be over the outside of this. Yeah, so it's going to be tight with the, almost tight with the existing box, so I got to be real careful. real careful where it goes. I think what I need to do is measure up to that, right, to make sure I clear this. And if I clear this, the rest will be okay. And then I've got to go from here to there, measure that. So if I clear this and I clear that, then everything else will pan out. So just need to measure that, mark it on here, measure that, mark it on here, and then set this box on there, trace it in this position, and then cut that out accordingly. That's gonna be interesting for sure. Oh, show. I don't know that I want to cut that with a razor blade, or if I want to try cutting with something else. I just got to be very careful around the edges. It'll have a plastic bezel to go over top of that once it's in there, but I still want to be very careful, right? Alright, so there's our outline. We just need to cut it out. I think I'm going to start it with the razor blade. I don't know that I'm going to finish it with the razor blade. We'll see how well it is cut. But it is straight lines, so it may work out just fine. But I think that's going to be nice. The only thing I haven't decided on is whether I'm going to trim this to be straighter with that, you know, because that is definitely crooked. And a lot of that too is that thing's just pushed out. It just got pushed out. So, I don't know. So I think that's going to work just fine. We may have to trim it up just a bit. It's probably pretty tight. Let me go get that piece so we can trim it up out here and not get the mess in the motorhome. Alrighty. Yeah, we're just in the corner. It's just a tad skinny or too fat. See, it's that angle I got on it, I'm sure. We keep carving her down a little bit. Pretty nice. Fits in there just perfect, right? Nice and tight. I like it. So I just need to lock that in. A couple tabs here to do that. Maybe. You just bend those little tabs back if I can get one up. I'll have to get a screwdriver. Yeah, that's gonna be nice. That's gonna be real nice. Start getting locked up against there. Some of these, I have to be careful though, because I don't know how far that, no, yeah, I do need to be real careful on that, because I may not be able to use those that way. Yeah, because they have to clear the deal, so I better push those back just a little bit and think that out before I start bending everything out, because it's going to fit inside that other side, and then I've got to flip them up inside of that maybe. So I'll have to get it in there first, then flip these tabs. It kind of sucks because I'd like to get them in now, but obviously that's not gonna work. All right, so I got some epoxy to use. That's all I had really laying around, so I'm gonna go ahead and use it. And 2-part. Dries in 5 minutes. We're gonna be really careful just to barely get it on the edges here. And then we'll set that against it. I might use just a little more there, but the goal here is just to get it to stick to it so it holds it together, and not so much to well, it's just to stick to it, right? That's where they keep it in place. So make it 1 part. So let's get busy and try this out and see what happens. I need something that's different than this to be more exacting. Of course, this part right here has just been broken off since, well, before I got the machine, obviously. I don't really like this cotton on here. Let's get rid of it. Alright, well, I gotta get moving because I only got 5 minutes. What am I gonna use? Use this. Again, we're just trying to keep enough to get it glued. We really don't want it to come out the other side. It is close. Just enough for baby stepping in. All right. And we want to wash her and nut it. Ah, dummy. All right, let's get rid of this. Ah, stupid. All right, let's get these in there. Quit playing around in the glue. Alright, so now I just want to clamp. Well, that's pulling pretty tight, actually. I'm going to leave that alone. Alright, so 5 minutes from now it should be dry. It looks pretty good to me. And then we can start putting our radio in. Alright, so that looks pretty good to me. I was going to put clamps in the center, but I don't think I need to. I think I'll just leave it just like this and let it dry. And then we'll put our box in and then bend the tabs on that. And then we can start putting our radio in and stuff like that later. So I think it looks pretty good. I need to clean this stuff off, of course. But yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good. Lot cleaner. I was trying to think if I was going to cut this, but I ended up leaving it. So now there's really no choice. I'll just leave it alone. Because it does seem like it's a little, but the panel's crooked. If you see right here, you look at the top, it kind of gets wider and wider and wider. So I don't know. You can fight with it all day long. That's where it's going to be. It crosses here perfectly on both those two tabs. So if I went down more, it would be wrong over here, but I could get it to be the same measurements here, whatever. Anyway, I think it looks pretty good. We're gonna roll with it. I think once we get the radio in there, it'll be all pro looking anyway. And I'll get some, I gotta get something gentle to get this off because I don't want to hurt the thing behind it. So I think I'll work on that while I'm waiting for this to dry, and we'll go from there. Alright, so it's been plenty of time. What am I doing with my light? Oh, it's up here. It's been plenty of time. It's dry, so I'm going to put the metal in. But in the meantime, I've been working on this. I've taken the plate out, and I've started trying to find the wires. I found the power wires. I don't see the CB antenna, which is concerning. And then there's no way to mount. There's nothing there to mount a CB2. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want it to hang on here. So I need to be able to have a mount back there, but there's nothing even to run a mount from to hold the backside of it. So I'm going to go on the forums and stuff and see what is in there. I also have a buddy that watches the channel that has an 05, and maybe he has a CB. He can show me what's in there. But yeah, so that's a little frustrating, but we'll figure that out. I just thought it's CB ready, right? It even says it on the sales thing that it's CB ready. So I don't know, maybe that just means wires and a hole, but the hole's not big enough. I'll have to make it a little bit bigger, but that's not really worrisome. What is worrisome is nothing to mount to. Not even a bracket or a place that I could run a bracket off of. I could tie it maybe to this marble, and then, you know, the screws on this side, the marble, but that's kind of shoddy too, right? So I'm not 100% what to do there. Not 100%. It's kind of like the radio. There's no way to mount a bracket to it. So anyway, I will figure that out. I'm sure, you know, like this one, they mounted the bracket right into the wood underneath. Maybe I need to run some kind of wood plate there. I don't know. But anyway, I'm sure we'll figure something out. I'll just have to think about it for a while. In the meantime, let's get this metal bracket in, and at least we'll get one project going anyway. Is there a top and a bottom, or are they the ambidextrous? I need to know that. I may have already bent one a little bit to match though. Yeah, I did probably. All right. So now I just want to bend these tabs down here to get that sucker to fit. I think that's going to be enough to hold it in there for sure. So perfect. I mean, that came out really nice. I'm thrilled with that. We didn't even get any excess coming out the top or the bottom. And then the bolts hold it in there nice and tight. So that's perfect. So now it's just a matter of getting the clip off the old radio and then finding all the same ports here. So does that pull out? Nope. So there's a clip here. So I need that clip. What is all this stuff? Remote, start remote, reverse, center remote, ground, and this is probably park. Right now I'm just looking to get basic stuff hooked up. So the antenna and the wiring harness, I need to find the wiring harness. Well, maybe it's in here, but I think this is the screen part. Oh no, it's the wiring harness and the instructions and all that. All right, good. All right, so I went on the internet and found the wiring diagram for the old radio, which should tell me what all this stuff is. We can match that up with the new wiring on the back side here and this one. And then these are speakers, so easy peasy. All right, so I think that came out pretty slick. There's our new wiring harness, the bus side, the radio side. It'll be nice and neat. I won't have to worry about trying to figure out what all the junk is in there. So we'll get this in there and plugged in. I might even zip tie those two together depending on how they go in there. Probably go that way. But we'll see which one goes on top of which one or whatever, and maybe we'll zip tie those together even, but way neater than having a bunch of wires sitting out there. So let me get in here and get her hooked up. Forgot to turn the camera on, but I just pushed it in there, hooked the wires up, pushed it in there. Now I'm putting the trim ring on. It should cover everything. I don't know if there's a top or bottom of this. It looks pretty ambidextrous. This should just get over this and pop in. So the problem I'm having now is when I turn on accessory, it doesn't come on. And now it was that way before, so I should have thought of that. So now I need to figure out how to get power to it when I have it in accessory mode and it shuts off when I don't. And then I need to look at this. Let's see what the clock says. See if this starts over or what it's going to do. Alright, so it still kept the time on the clock. So the clock is right. It didn't lose power there. So it works great. Now I just need how to get to work on accessory. So basically this goes to the ignition. Everything works like it's supposed to, except for I can't use it in accessory mode. Nothing comes on in accessory mode. Now I don't know if that's designed that way so you don't run the juice down in your battery. Radio here. Oh. Well, there you go. That works. Okay. So I have a radio button. Alright, so I have a radio button where I can turn it on. So that's pretty slick. Okay. But it did reset the time this time. Huh. Oh, because I unhooked it all together. That's why. Alright, we're getting rid of this old junky antenna. We'll put up a new one. And we'll see if that doesn't help our reception a little bit anyway. This one wasn't bad. It's just been through the works. I don't know. Maybe it's still good. Who knows? It's going in the trash though. Nice brand new one. We're good to go. I probably will have to adjust this one. This is the CB, I believe. It was never used before. Yeah, that's a big antenna. So I'll probably have to get that set up so I can actually pick up CB juice here when CB signals once I get that all hooked up and whatever. This one I probably should have took off. I think it's the GPS or something, but until I know, I don't want to pull it. That was GPS, I knew for sure, so it's gone.